In a shocking turn of events, new discoveries related to Malaysian Flight MH370 have left scientists reeling in fear. This ill-fated flight vanished without a trace on March 8, 2014, creating one of aviation's greatest mysteries. Tucker Carlson recently talked about how the latest findings could change everything we thought we knew about the plane's disappearance. What secrets could lie within the wreckage? Join us as we explore the terrifying truths behind MH370 and what they could reveal. The disappearance of MH370. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, bound for Beijing Capital International Airport in China. The Boeing 777-200ER was carrying a total altitude of 35,000 feet. This was when the first sign of trouble occurred. The plane's transponder, which helps ground control track the aircraft, stopped transmitting. This loss of communication was the first indication that something was wrong. Just 37 seconds later, at 1:20 a.m., the aircraft made its last radar contact as it crossed the eastern coast of Malaysia. The plane was supposed to follow a standard flight path over the South China Sea. However, shortly after the last communication, it took a sharp turn to the west, deviating from its intended route. This unusual maneuver raised immediate concerns among air traffic controllers. They were unable to track the aircraft properly, which led to confusion and alarm. As the minutes passed without contact, the situation became increasingly serious. At 2:15 a.m., the last conclusion on satellite data, which indicated that the plane had continued flying for several hours after losing contact. This marked a significant turning point in the search efforts as the focus shifted to the remote waters of the southern Indian Ocean. The disappearance of MH370 has prompted discussions about aviation safety and technology. In the wake of the incident, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, recommended improvements in tracking aircraft in real time. The aviation industry has since taken steps to enhance safety measures, including the implementation of more advanced tracking systems to ensure that planes can be monitored continuously. As of now, the main wreckage of MH370 has never been found. The search for the aircraft officially ended in 2018, but the mystery surrounding its disappearance continues to increase. As soon as it was confirmed that MH370 had disappeared, investigators examined the last communications received from the flight. The plane's transponder had stopped transmitting, which was a significant factor in the investigation. This device is crucial for tracking aircraft and provides information on altitude and location. After the plane vanished from radar screens, the search area was initially focused on the South China Sea, where the aircraft was last detected. The Malaysian Air Force and various international agencies coordinated efforts to locate the flight. They dispatched ships and planes to scour the waters, hoping to find debris or any signs of the aircraft. The search involved multiple countries, including Vietnam, Australia, China, and the United States. Each country contributed resources, personnel, and expertise to the search contact with ground control. Using this satellite information, investigators determined that after losing radar contact, MH370 had continued flying for several hours. They identified two possible corridors where the plane could have traveled: a northern corridor towards Central Asia and a southern corridor towards the Indian Ocean. The southern corridor was identified as the more likely route based on the satellite data available. This conclusion marked a significant shift in the investigation, as it meant that search efforts would need to be redirected to the remote areas of the southern Indian Ocean. The search operation grew complex very quickly. It became one of the largest and most challenging search efforts in aviation history. Investigators had to deal with vast and unpredictable ocean conditions. The search area expanded over time, reaching its procedures and the crew's qualifications and backgrounds. They investigated the flight's flight plan, cargo, and passenger manifest. No dangerous cargo was reported, and all passengers were screened before boarding. Investigators aimed to rule out any mechanical failure that could have led to the disappearance. The focus on the crew also raised questions. The flight's captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, and First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid were thoroughly examined. Both had extensive flying experience, and their backgrounds were scrutinized. Investigators looked into their personal lives, including any potential issues or pressures they might have faced. However, no definitive evidence was found that would indicate any wrongdoing or unusual behavior leading up to the flight. As the search continued, the absence of wreckage only fueled the importance of real-time tracking of aircraft. The disappearance raised significant questions about aviation safety and the technology used to monitor flights. At that time, many aircraft were not equipped with real-time tracking systems, which made locating missing planes more difficult. Following the disappearance of MH370, there were calls within the aviation community to improve tracking technology and protocols to ensure that similar incidents could be addressed more efficiently in the future. Despite extensive efforts, the initial investigations did not yield conclusive answers about the cause of the disappearance. Investigators were left with many unanswered questions and a growing determination to seek the truth. The investigation into MH370 became a global effort, capturing the attention of the world and highlighting the vulnerabilities. He was described as a passionate aviator who loved his job and had a deep commitment to safety. The first officer, Fariq Abdul Hamid, was 27 years old and had around 2,700 flight hours under his belt. Fariq was also a dedicated pilot who had joined Malaysia Airlines in 2007. He was in the process of gaining experience to advance in his career. Fariq was known for his enthusiasm for aviation and his friendly demeanor, which made him well-liked by both passengers and colleagues. The flight was scheduled to depart from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:40 a.m. local time and was meant to arrive at Beijing Capital International Airport at 6:30 a.m. The passengers included people of various nationalities, and many were traveling for different reasons, from business trips to family visits. Among the 227 passengers, many were Chinese nationals with a height. Yvonne Lee was another Malaysian passenger on board. She was traveling with her family, including her husband and 2 children. The family had planned to visit relatives in China. Their disappearance left a gaping hole in the lives of their extended family. The flight also included Mohammed Khairuddin, a Malaysian businessman who was on a work-related trip. He was known for his successful ventures and was well-liked in his community. His sudden loss affected many people who admired his work and character. There were several students on the flight as well. One of them was Nguyen Thi Han, a Vietnamese student who was returning to Beijing after a holiday. She had dreams of furthering her education and making a positive impact in her community. Her disappearance was a tragic loss for her family and friends, who remembered her as a bright and ambitious young woman. Another passenger was Cheng Ming, a 31-year-old Chinese national who was traveling for business. Just professionals doing their jobs. They were individuals with families and lives outside of work. The flight attendants included Hanafi Abdul Rahman. Each of them had their own stories, aspirations, and relationships. They were dedicated to ensuring the safety and comfort of the passengers throughout the flight, and their commitment to their roles was evident. The disappearance of MH370 was not just a tragic event for those on board, it also affected their families and communities. The families of the passengers and crew members were left in anguish, grappling with uncertainty and loss. Many families came together, forming support groups to help one another during this difficult time. They held vigils, shared stories of their loved ones, and sought to raise awareness about the ongoing search for MH370. As the news of the disappearance spread, the international community responded with compassion. Many countries offered assistance